will be coming. Let's bring in Fox News contributor and former Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz. He joins us today. Jason, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It seems like the right reaction from the president and the Pentagon, doesn't it?
It does. Overwhelming force, and I have no doubt that the Defense Secretary Mattis knows how to do this, and it'll be done right under the direction of President Trump. They've made a mistake. They've gone too far. This is not going to be some fictitious red line that Obama dealt with. President Trump will take care and protect the United States and the United States forces.
And we got to just worry about what happens the day after. So let's say it's a 4 days of strikes.
Yeah.
We don't have people on the ground that we agree with. We like the Kurds. They're back to where they were in Syria and Iraq. Yeah. So what is our ultimate goal? I think that at some point the president's got to tell us that.
And they need to dismantle the capability for Syria to carry out these acts. I think most military analysts that I've heard and seen, they want to take out the capability to launch and do more military strikes via their Air Force.
All right.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the investigations that are going on. We saw Hillary Clinton get investigated and never indicted. Now the president's attorney is getting raided, and many on the right are saying this is a double standard. What are your thoughts?
It's a total double standard. I mean, the raid itself, I can't believe. But remember, it was the Inspector General for the intelligence community who made a referral with potential criminality to it, that there was classified information being stored in a non-classified setting. That happened to be Hillary Clinton's attorney's office. They didn't have the requisite security clearances, and it wasn't in a secure setting. What did the FBI do? Did they raid it? Did they go do a no-doc, hit on that attorney's office? No, those people, Cheryl Mills, Heather Samuelson, they ended up getting immunity agreements. They basically called up, knocked on the door and said, would you please give us this? And over a course of time, then they made the transition. A totally different set of standards and sensitive information that is so classified. Even as the chairman of the Oversight Committee, I couldn't see it because it dealt with people's lives, and people could have been killed if that information was out in the open.
So, go ahead, Brian.
So when you're looking, we were just showing shots of Michael Cohen. Not only has Robert Mueller taken a wide swath in this investigation, indicting people for lying, not telling the truth, from a Dutch lawyer to Michael Flynn to Paul Manafort, and now 2 people aiding with Paul Manafort. Then they go in with a no-knock raid into Michael Cohen's office, and then 4 different separate offices. On top of that, we're finding out he decides to pick up the phone and talk to Don Lemon at CNN. How bizarre are these series of circumstances? And what do you think the message is, if you're the president, when your lawyer goes on the biggest critic of your administration?
I don't know. President Trump is dealing with a lot of stuff, but that is absolutely off the rails. Remember, the Southern District of New York, who got this referral, it was President Trump that came in and actually dismissed that person. Remember the whole brouhaha? I think his name was Mr. Paureed or something like that. But yeah, Bahar, exactly. And there was this whole big uproar about that. So that's the district in which you give this. All we want is justice to be equal under the law, and it is not. That is what's driving us crazy. That's why you got to go in and clean up the Department of Justice.
You know what, Jason, just about 40 minutes ago, we had John Lausch, a U.S. attorney from Illinois, who's been tapped by the Attorney General to go into the Department of Justice and try to get this document production thing going fast, because so few have been released. I think just a handful, maybe 6,000 so far out of 1 million that the IG has. We had him on a little while ago. Listen to how he describes his job, where he says we have got to do a better job in getting the word out. Listen.
Clearly, we need to do a better job at the department and the FBI at getting materials to the House committee to do their job. It was made very clear to me by the Attorney General in giving me this task that we're to produce documents quickly. We're to do so completely under the law. My job is to deal with the documents that have been responsive to the Goodlatte subpoena. To be clear, the DOJ is not refusing to hand over anything. And of course, Congress has, they have a right and an obligation to do their job, which includes oversight. I mean, what our job and what my job will be is to ensure that we have a process, a better process than we've had going forward. We need to do better. We need to do much better.
Absolutely. Mark Meadows feels that as well. He's the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus. a Republican from North Carolina. He just tweeted this out. While I appreciate Mr. Lausch's efforts, the Inspector General for the DOJ has all of the relevant documents. Why not turn over those documents to Congress? Let us do our job. The DOJ has been of little to no help to Congress in this investigation. And I would imagine, Jason, you feel the same way.
I do. I'm convinced as long as Attorney General Sessions is there, this problem will continue. I look at Sessions, Attorney General Lynch, Attorney General Holder, and I can't tell the difference because these documents have been under subpoena since 2016. Right. And for him to come on, John Lausch, and say that the Department of Justice is not refusing to turn over everything, they have refused to do it. They are out of compliance with a duly issued subpoena. John Lausch ought to dust off that resume and send it over to ZipRecruiter.com because he's going to need to get a new job. Anybody who is refusing to turn over those documents, they should be held in contempt. And the Congress needs to stand up for itself. They need to yank up Director Wray. They need to get Attorney General Sessions there. They need to get Stephen Boyd, a name you haven't heard. He worked for Mr. Sessions when he was in the Senate. He's the Director of Legislative Affairs. Have him raise the right hand. Hold him in contempt. Stand up for yourself, Congress. I couldn't get it done. I was the chairman of the Oversight Committee. I issued the subpoena. But if Paul Ryan, Kevin McCarthy, Steve Scalise, if they're going to call themselves leadership, then lead on this issue and get these documents. Mr. Lausch went on your program and said, well, we won't turn over anything that's related to a grand jury. There was no grand jury. He doesn't even know this case. Get those documents. They're under subpoena and comply with it. And Bob Goodlatte, do your job. Yank them up, hold them in contempt.
Why can't we just get those 2 pages, the FISA application? What's so hard about that? It's only 2 pages. Why won't they hand that over?
The one that does have a backbone in Congress is Devin Nunes. And Devin Nunes has said, hey, Director Wray, it's a separate case. If it's Russia, it goes to the Intel Committee. If it has nothing to do with Russia, then you're looking at Trey Gowdy and Bob Goodlatte with John Ratcliffe there leading it for the Judiciary Committee. 2 pages. Twice Trey Gowdy has gone over to the Department of Justice. Twice they've been redacted. All Trey Gowdy wants to look at, he has the necessary security clearance, is to go look at what they have redacted.
Right.
But they won't do it.
Nunes keeps saying he's going to impeach after today's deadline. If they don't give the documents, he wants to impeach Christopher Wray. Is that really? Can that really happen? Because America's frustrated. They're like, we've been asking for these documents. He's been asking for these documents for more than a year now. Nothing's happening. And is he really going to be impeached?
He should. Now, will they have the backbone and the guts to do it? That's a whole nother question. Remember when the IRS director would not turn over the documents? Yep. Remember when we were having problems with him? Remember when he came to Congress and lied to us? We tried to impeach him. Under the Constitution, you can impeach somebody who is a civil officer. And I'm glad to have Devin Nunes not only talking about it, but willing to take some action.
By the way, ZipRecruiter will find you a job in 1 day. They're one of our sponsors on the radio. So keep in mind, if it doesn't work out for John Lausch, he does have a legitimate option.
All right. Jason Chaffetz, thank you very much for joining us today from Utah. All right.
Thank you.
Very busy. Busy, busy, busy. 8:11 now here in New York City. Jillian?
That's right. Good morning to you guys. We are busy. We are starting with a Fox News alert right now. More than 250 people have been killed in a devastating military plane crash in Algeria. The jet carrying troops and their families going down shortly after takeoff near an air base in the African nation. No word yet on what caused that crash. Another California city joins a lawsuit against the state's sanctuary law. The city of Orange voting overnight to oppose the bill, which limits local law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration authorities. Orange joined 7 other Orange County cities that oppose the bill. This as the Trump administration heads to court today to overturn a blocked order from the president to cut funding from sanctuary cities. Sister Jean is switching teams. How about this? The most loved nun in sports throwing out the first pitch at the Cubs home opener. The 98-year-old stole hearts across America during the NCAA tournament as her school, Loyola Chicago, made a run to the Final Four. So I guess she's not really switching teams. She's just, cheering on Chicago.
She's got a basketball team. She's got a baseball team.
Season's done. The kids are all in study hall now. Might as well go watch a baseball game.
Why not?
All right, Jillian, thank you. Well, in just a couple of hours, Mark Zuckerberg, the